Hey critics, and welcome back to the Critic Chronicles YouTube channel where you get commentary reviews and tabloid news. I'm your host, Patricia Hartley. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. It's Thursday, February the 5th, 2026. Hey critics, it's time to chronicle. Of course, you know what time it is today, y'all. We're going to be doing a critical review of Today with Jenna and Sheinelle. Of course, it's going to be of their episode that aired today on February the 5th. Let's get right into these fits first, okay, babes? I don't know. I don't know where that came from, y'all. Sheinelle, she actually wore this these navy slacks with like a nice wide leg at the bottom. She had on like this suede, like light brown belt and like a silky navy blue long sleeve shirt with red lining, but also sort of, I think it was maybe like these gold, maybe shimmers that lined the shirt overall. It looked to me like one of those popular silk pajamas that people wear, in like the pictures, like, but only the top. The bottom didn't remind me of that at all, but it looked great still with the bottoms that she wore. But I really like a sleek navy outfit. Maybe it's because it's like not the typical black slacks, and shirt and, jacket. However, I did want like I don't know, maybe I wanted like a red belt or something for Sheinelle instead of the brown or gold-ish, belt that she was wearing. But either way, she looks good. I couldn't see what color her pumps was. I don't know if they were black, but either way, she looks really nice. Jenna actually wore like a cute brown, like sleeveless dress with flowers at the bottom. Okay. It was above the knee, but it kind of like flared out a little bit, but it had a little length to it, right? She also had on what I call like these white go-go girl boots. Okay, like anytime y'all I say go-go girl, it remind me of my grandma when I was a kid growing up. It was a few times that she was like explaining some stuff to me. And one time she said something about somebody and she was up there dancing on the table like a go-go girl. And I was like, Grandma, what is a go-go girl? But I guess it was one of them like scandalous, you know, dressed ladies back in the day that be, dancing on the table, looking good, moving, and a lot of stamina. Okay, because it take a lot to dance. I don't know why people be acting like them professions do not be like, woo, it take a lot of work. I don't want to work that kind of hard. It's a different kind of hard I want to work, but not like that. Okay, but nothing is wrong with it either. Hello. All right, so getting into the mix of things. Unfortunately, the Today host, Savannah Guthrie, is still on the search for her mother. The family and the investigators, they've been instructed to leave out certain details in the media, so there is still more to come. Yesterday's episode, of course, I gave a rundown of where we were at the time, and that's when I shared the statement that Savannah made on yesterday. But her brother made a plea today and it has been posted. So let's actually take a listen.
Guthrie, I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you and we are waiting for contact.
All right, we're going to go back to Tracy.
So we heard that, and I actually got that from, it's NBC News. I got that off of their YouTube channel, but I was able to get basically the statement that Cameron Guthrie actually just made. And he's basically making the plea to say, hey, we have not heard from you in terms of the folks that took or abducted his mother. We have not heard from you. We don't know how to move forward. So it sounds like they're willing to move forward, but just don't know what it takes in order to do so. Side note, the video that I saw yesterday of Savannah and her siblings, because she has a brother and a sister, sitting on the couch and like reading the statement, it did feel like an abduction. And it also felt like, how in whatever letter they may have received, because TMZ has said that they basically received a letter and they turned it over to the authorities. But of course they read the letter and they're not telling us everything that the letter says. But I wonder if in the letter it gave other instructions of like, how the family should do things in a certain way. The media should only know XYZ, and like, yeah, you say the authorities say you ain't supposed to say nothing because you ain't supposed to say nothing because the letter tells you not to say nothing and you don't know, because this is something you got to take very serious. But it sounds like they have not heard at all from their mother to even know if she is still with us, if that makes sense. So that's what they are trying to do right now. And Cameron was making that plea to say, hey, listen, we want to move forward, but we haven't even heard from you to see what is the status of our mother. Jenna and Sheinelle, I'll say that they are rightfully so and gracefully sort of like leaving out sort of the sensitive details on the show. And I think this is what I mean by that. There's clearly more information out there outside of what the ladies are sharing, and they just kind of keeping it family and supportive and clean. And I wonder if they're also a part of like the letter, like if the network better not do anything outside of look for Nancy. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't help, especially with Savannah being a public figure, to think if this person did this on purpose, knowing that maybe Savannah was Nancy's mother. Nancy'd been out and about with Savannah more than a few times. So it's obvious to the world that they knew, if you watched the show, especially today, on a consistent basis, or even, glanced at it, all you need is a picture to know like who her mom is, And so, knowing that Nancy was down in Arizona, she was living by herself. And unfortunately, she has come up missing, and they still have yet to hear from her. TMZ, I would say Law and Crime, Nancy Grace as well, and other networks, they're kind of keeping up with the story blow by blow. But I'd say the Jenna and Sheinelle show, they've just kind of chosen to leave out the details and stick with the basics while supporting their colleague and only sharing their love and call to action with the audience. So shout out to them for that. They're doing the best they can. The ladies and the family of Savannah Guthrie are still focused on a safe and positive return of Nancy Guthrie. So moving on to the guests of the show today, Robin Thede was looking good. She's a writer, she's a journalist, comedian, she's an actress. She was a guest on the show, and she was glowing in her long brown dress with it had like a loose turtleneck style top at the top, and it was like a quality silk looking material, like very side. A side note, the way Robin was dressed today is how I really want the ladies to dress more like every day on the show, except on Fridays, because we all deserve a day off, but or a casual day, something like that. But I don't know, I loved actually what Robin wore on the show today. Side note, I'm back to the show. I didn't realize her though and the host Sheinelle attended the same undergrad, so they both went to Northwestern University. And it looks like Robin Thede was like always a talent on campus, and Sheinelle said she always knew that Robin knew what it took and was gonna be big. Yeah, but Robin was on the show. She was talking about her brand new romantic comedy called Relationship Goals, where a group of women navigate friendship and the messiness of modern relationships. It's streaming on Prime now. She is also co-producing her off-Broadway show called Bigfoot, the Musical. She was basically a breath of fresh air, I would say. And like in the movie, I think the Relationship Goals movie, she plays basically a news anchor, and she told Sheinelle that she basically studied her news reporter voice for her role. So that was a nice comment, as well as a nice compliment. Yeah, that's what I should have said. She was the first Black woman, of course, to be a writer for the White House Correspondents' Dinner. She also reflected on the first time she fell in love with writing and sketch comedy as a kid growing up. She said she would perform for her family members, and she said she used to use the camcorder to record herself. So before YouTube, and do her sketch comedy there as well. I believe she also studied at Second City over in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. Look that up. But yeah, I believe she also studied there, which is, if you know improv, theater, that's a big deal. So yeah, and improv is hard. I will say, well, I will say that improv is something that personally I enjoy. I didn't know that I had a little thing for it when I was in school, but I actually did. I actually do enjoy a little improv, but with some guidance. Like I need some prompts. I need a little bit of, like not just like get up there and just off the top of my head. I can do that if it's a singing type of thing though. If it's like a sing something, like I'm pretty good at like improv something like that real quick, like, but I'm not that great at if it's like I gotta come off the top of my head with like a scene, But you can also do different theater style games where you can just pull from the audience and have them tell you something, and you can kind of go from there. But then it kind of turns into sort of like this comedic performance, especially if it's just you by yourself. But with improv, you're trying to, you want to grab other people, but. Shout out to the comedic actresses. Y'all, comedy is hard. I know that people be looking at drama and when people be crying and stuff and like, oh my God, that is not as hard as comedy. Like, it is hard making people laugh. Y'all know it is. Y'all know it is. It is. She also explains that with relationship goals, we shouldn't just be looking at intimate relationships, right? But also friendships, our friends who support us while we're just doing life. And she also reminded us that one of the writers on relationship goals is they wrote for Brown Sugar. Yeah, there's also this scene in the film where the three ladies, Kelly Rowland is also one of the ladies in the film. Method Man, Kelly Rowland and Method Man have been going around and actually promoting the film actually lately. So yeah, but it's officially now out if you want to check that out as well. So I'm looking forward to checking it out. Yeah, shout out to Robin Thede for being on the show, looking good, girl, loving the glow. So Mother McMahon was looking gorgeous and fun on the show, and she stopped by to talk about Bamboozled, her stand-up comedy tour. I did not know who Heather was until the show today, and I hope that I'm saying her name right, because when Jenna said her name, because she spells it McMahon, I don't remember her saying like McMahon. You know what I'm saying? It was like McMahon. Like she didn't say it like that. So yeah. Anyway, let me just keep moving forward. But one of the funniest things that Heather was talking about, she talked about y'all getting her neck done, and Jenna was like, what is that? And she's like, oh, well, they basically cut behind the ear. They suck the fat out and then they tighten the skin back, I think, behind the ear. And she said she had to get it done twice. And they were like, girl, nah. And she was like, no, I'm dead serious. She said that it was a very unique situation, and she just happened to be, the exception to the rule. I didn't know her before the show, but I would actually go see her. I also got a thing for like live music and comedy, so I don't care who it is. Just make me laugh, entertain me. That's all it's about. She was not only the student body president, she said, but she was also the people's princess. Shout out to her. So shout out to Heather. And congratulations on your brand new comedy tour. But she was hilarious. She was. They ended up referencing the Dr. Pepper jingle though. Shout out to the young lady who actually received the $2 million for the Dr. Pepper jingle. But girl, y'all, Heather did a doggone jingle for Lexapro, and y'all know that's like a depression pill. And I'm like, it's a pill for depression. I'm sorry. But you should, I'm not even going to play it for y'all. You're going to have to watch the show, which I'm going to link in the show notes below if you want to see that. Okay. Moving on today, y'all, they had a chef on today. Chef David Rose was on the show showcasing some game day dishes. He was also looking healthy and in shape, giving us all of the cooking things that you do in the kitchen. Some of the dishes that he created was the crab grilled cheese and then also the traditional smoked clam chowder. Now that looked really, really good. I know this team is not, y'all, side note, I'm gonna make a lot of people mad, but side note, okay. I know this team is not in the Super Bowl, but y'all, I used to have this Dallas Cowboys starter jacket that lasted me, I promise, like my entire, almost like at least from the 5th grade up until high school. You know what I'm saying? It did. Shout out to the starter jackets, okay? And shout out to Durango Jones and the Indications. They performed on the show. They performed a song off their newest album, Flowers. Yeah, strong show today, ladies. Strong show. And As a reminder, here at the Critic Chronicles, our goal is to provide quality but juicy content from websites, digital magazines, and tabloids, most of which are sourced from our public library. Research from the National Library of Medicine showed that there are an estimated 17,000 public libraries nationwide, totaling 4 million visits each day. Public libraries are civic organizations that are committed to providing invaluable resources beyond books that are free and open to the public. Get your library card to access thousands of resources today and to read all of Jenna's book club recommendations. For access to the full YouTube episode of Today with Jenna and Sheinelle, check out the show notes in the description box. As a reminder, we are hosting Blogmas in honor of Black History Month, and we will release a video every day in the month of February 2026. We are also using this as a kickoff to 1,000 subscribers, so tell a critic of a critic to subscribe, baby. Also, be sure to subscribe to our backup channel, Hey Critics, also linked in the show notes. Thanks again for tuning in to the Critic Chronicles YouTube channel, where you get commentary, reviews, and tabloid news. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.